Oh, hey, there's an audience over here. Hey there, folks. It's your friendly furry correspondent who is today going to talk about the 80s and what it was like for me personally as a kid growing up in the 80s. But being Gen X, I'm going to explain to you the greater context as well. See, something happened in the late 70s and early 80s called the pro-social movement. And basically, there was a lot of right-wing pressure groups and other pearl clutchers who put a lot of pressure to make cartoons more pro-social in their eyes. So that cartoons had to include positive messages and teach good lessons to us youngins. So, the cartoons I grew up watching were, well, kind of preachy. The plot always had to come to some kind of moral conclusion, and it was basically the same set of messages that just kept recycling. The first one was, you should be nice to the weird kid. After all, they could be very cool in some way. And you don't know what you'll find out if you're nice to the weird kid. Keep an open mind. And that didn't work, because I was the weird kid. And nobody was trying to befriend me, only on the first lesson, and already I'm stewing in hypocrisy. The second lesson was always, isn't it great to cooperate? It even rhymes. Well, I had no others to cooperate with. So that message didn't exactly do much for me either, other than make me sit there and wish I did have others to cooperate with. You know, the episode would be like, isn't it better than when we all work together? And then the third one was the whopper for a lonely child like me, because it was, isn't friendship great? Isn't it awfully nice to have friends? And for 2/3 of my childhood, I had no friends. I was a friendless child, all alone. I was a little robot that went to school and came home and spent most of his time either watching television or reading in his room. It didn't help me either. It really came across to a lonely child like me like they're taunting me, like they're basically saying, yeah, you don't have any friends. Friends are so great, but you don't have any. Loser. Friendship is magic, my ass. So, as you can see, the 80s pro-social messages were just not working for me. However, I did get some benefit in the 80s, but it was from sitcoms. Sitcoms were my comfort food, and they had people who got along with one another. They had people who, even if they were just co-workers, sort of acted like a family, or at the very least a group of friends. And so, when I was with, say, the gang at Cheers, or the people in Night Court, and the Cosby Show, I felt less alone. I didn't, literally, delusionally think that these people were literally my friends, but I felt just a bit more included, and a bit more, I guess, welcome when I watched those shows. That was something that my home life generally did not provide me, for reasons I've gone into in other videos. That warmth from the sitcoms, along with the wit, is basically two things I really needed, which was laughter and warmth. That was why I was such a devotee of sitcoms. And so as a sad 80s kid, the cartoons didn't really help me much, and their pro-social message. Because clearly, the kids weren't listening. But I did love my sitcoms and my sitcom families, so to speak. That's why I say, when I was a kid, for 2/3 of it at least, the only friend I had was television. That was pretty much it. I guess that's all from me for today, folks. I will talk to you nice people again tomorrow. Bye-bye.